Hey YouTube, we've returned from another adventure with the High Desert Gladiator. No worse for wear, it was a good time. You'll have seen the most of the video by now. Got some snow driving in. Got a little snow left over here. Yeah, we even carried some back with us. Starting to warm up and melt off now. But a good adventure. A while back I had promised video from a wrap-up of our last trip, but I think I'm just going to combine them both together, and that's what this video is going to be. Stay tuned. All right, YouTube, thanks for checking in. So we're going to look at our last couple trips here and what the Jeep Gladiator Mojave did for us and what I thought about it out here on the back roads, side roads, wherever else we went from the last few videos. Didn't get a lot of footage of the second trip, but this was basically two trips, two different types of conditions, so that was really a good evaluation, I guess you'd say. We had a little bit of rain the first time. We had that one washout road that we went through. And the second time, it was lots of snow. We got some pretty good snow driving in. It was a good time, but also just all the capabilities and just seeing what the Gladiator Mojave could do, right? Which went as expected. I wouldn't say there was any surprises necessarily. But first, start off with just some of the statistics, the data, right? Everyone wants to look at the data. About 1,200 miles total driven. And the mileage, the first trip was really good. About, I don't know, 70-30 was on off-road. 70% of that was probably highway driving. And the second trip, a little bit over 500 and a lot less mileage the second time around. You can see the engine run time was much higher because it was so much colder, a lot more time warming up out of the snow, a lot more idling time. Considerable more idling time, obviously, but the mileage in the first trip really surprised me, with off-road driving and off on the side roads in four-wheel drive for a good 30% of that, but yet the mileage came in at that route, and then the issues with the idle time in the second route. But really, like I said in that video we did out there on the rural route, out in its natural environment, the Mojave just nailed it. The suspension, the tires, everything's dialed in. Everything worked as I would expect it to, or as advertised, I guess you could say. The lift and everything else was exactly what I needed and what was designed for, really. The out there that first trip, just putting a lot of miles in on the roads. Unimproved roads, side roads, Forest Service roads, for the most part, and I was really pleased. I was almost excited about it, I guess you'd say. So no rock crawling, and I didn't want to get a rock crawler, so this did what I wanted it to do for the environment that I'm in, which is in here in the high desert, and looking forward to doing more of this, right? The only times kind of got in situations that it was, I guess, driver error. It wasn't the truck's fault, but I misjudged the wheelbase and going through the tight corner and hit the tree. If everybody remembers hitting the tree, we'll insert video as appropriate here.
Hey, tree. The tree's kind of narrow. He bit into it.
I want to fold your mirrors in for this one,
Yeah, fold your mirrors in.
So we had the tree incident, and that was just me misjudging the turn and what I was dealing with, coming from a JK to this. The JK was out there on our first trip with us. So as a comparison, both going anywhere and everywhere as needed. But when it came down those side roads and just chewing up miles on unimproved roads, what they designed the Mojave to do, excellent. Had the other incident, was this more recent trip where we got in the snow, got a little sideways, jumped off the track a little bit, couldn't get back on track because of, you know, less weight in the back of your pickup truck. Anybody that's ever driven a truck, you know, I've driven all the other brands of F-150s and 1500s and Silverados and F-150s and everything else, and pickup trucks light in the back end. So same thing with this. I got in that squirrely sideways coming through that one turn and hopped off the track and couldn't get back on because it was down the hill and you don't have enough traction to get back on. So I bailed out back around and came back around, unplanned, unscheduled, but Mojave has no problem finding traction when traction's there. Just that error on my part in the way I handled it, and came back through second time around, no problem, right? But those are really the two things. I've never used the rear locker yet. I haven't engaged that, and I've only put it in 4-low to test it out. I didn't put it in 4-low for any of these trips, for any of the terrain I was in. So there's still things unexplored, potential situations I could get in, I guess, but 90% going out, doing adventuring, camping, sightseeing, hunting. This is the kind of terrain I'm going to be on, and the Mojave was doing everything. And at high speeds on these roads, and high speeds relative, right? We're not doing 80, but 35, 45 on these unimproved washboard roads. Suspension eats it up, no issues. You know, the shimmy and shake is a lot less than anything you would deal with on your other types of vehicles or other vehicles I've had, right? This is the first advanced suspension I've ever had as far as the Fox shocks and everything go, but I've had lifted and, you know, bigger tires and everything. So I was really happy with it. Maybe there's better systems. I'm sure there's something more robust. But again, for what I wanted it for, I was really happy with what the Mojave delivers in this range in particular. But we got to see all kinds of good sights, got lots of good footage, and got to where I wanted to go. And that's what this Jeep Gladiator Mojave is for me, is getting me to do the things that I want to do. It's not a Jeep just to be a Jeep. It's a Jeep to be a delivery vehicle, as I look at it. So it's not going to be one of those things. And as you'll see in the future videos, anything we share on the Jeep Gladiator here, it's not going to be about building the biggest rig or getting out on the biggest rock trail, for sure. As much as I might enjoy that, maybe if I did that, but that's not what I do. That's not what I need. Here, what you see in these videos is what I need and what I do. So getting something that can just eat that up and perform and just be durable is ideal. And I wanted a pickup for the tail, you know, the pickup for the bed, and to store things that way versus what the JK or the JL provides. So that's why I got the Mojave, and I was just super happy about this last trip in the snow as well. It just getting through there and no issues. I just got sideways that one time and had to bail out. Such as it is. But the only things I was thinking about from what I've learned from these trips, going to get some items. I wouldn't call them necessarily improvements. I'm just going to be getting, what I'm going to be getting is slight improvements moving forward here for the Gladiator. And I'll talk about those in future videos, things I'll be doing. But one thing in particular I'm looking at that I've been looking at hard is a camper shell or cap cover or whatever else you want to call it. People call it so many different things. Growing up, we called them camper shells. But getting a shell on the back, a cap there, is something I'm really looking hard at. I kind of was leaning away from it initially because I don't necessarily want it looks so SUV-ish, like an SUV in a lot of ways. And the overland versions of a lot of those caps are kind of cost prohibitive. even though it'd be ideal to have like an Overlander setup cap. I might just go with a regular Best Top or something cap. I'm not Best Top, Lear or something like that. They make, I've looked at a couple now, but that last trip, really in the winter, snowing like that, having a cap would be ideal, because I carried a lot of snow around for a couple days and even brought some back that with your gear and stuff. I don't want a tonneau cover. I don't like the tonneau cover functionality of it. I would much rather have a go ahead and get a cap if I'm going to get something. So that's to be determined, and that's really the big outlier from these two trips that I saw as far as I need that I'm going to need, and other than some small stuff and cosmetic stuff that I'm going to get moving forward. And we'll talk about those things moving forward in other videos about stuff we get to improve the Jeep Gladiator Mojave or customize it. Maybe they're customizations more than they are improvements, because like I said, this thing performed and did everything I wanted it to do. So I hope you enjoyed the views. I hope you enjoyed the trips, and we'll try to get more better footage moving forward. Kind of limited. I broke the one camera cover on the first trip there. We saw that video where we kind of dinged it up with some rocks. So I got to get that replaced before we can do any outside the cab shooting, really. So until I can do that, the outside the cab shooting. And this last trip I was solo, so I couldn't get anybody video from outside the video, you know, the Jeep coming at different angles or anything. And that's something I got to work on, because I understand that looking out the cab, looking out the front window is not always the best view either. So we'll try to work on that and get everybody some better views and the Jeep Gladiator Mojave in action, such as it is. But appreciate everybody dropping by. Comment, like, subscribe if you want to. But we'll be doing more of this. If you enjoyed us watching the Jeep Gladiator be out and about, we're all about it. So we'll check in with you later, YouTube. Hey, another good morning from the top of the world, or close enough, YouTube. Hope all you Jeepers are having a good day. The sun is out. Skies are clear. So yeah, have a good Jeep day.